Are you satisfied? Happy? Miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? It's time for the Michelle Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Tune in daily and join our controversial topics as we talk about singles, sex, and men and women's issues. And now, the queen of relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show. Always keeping it real. Your host, Michelle Hughes.
Well, tonight I have a very special guest who is a very dear friend, and her name is Pat McCants, and it's truly an honor to have Pat on tonight. We are going to talk about some things that's going to help singles understand what it is to be a businesswoman, a married woman, a woman with children and grandchildren, and mostly she has a dear husband. And we just want to talk about her just for a minute, just to give you an understanding what it is to truly have a life that is gifted by the Lord. Well, let's give Pat some accolades of the things that she's been doing in her life. Well, she's the founder and president of African Diaspora Chamber of Commerce. She also has experience being an entrepreneur for over 40 years, has aided her efforts to create and develop business solutions that have and will continue to benefit individuals, businesses, organizations, communities, and governments worldwide. Her passion and organizational skills are some of the key attributes to her success. She has spoken for groups such as the Detroit Super Bowl 40. She's hosted committees, the City of Detroit Business Development, International Detroit Black Expo, and she has done conventions, many Black Chamber of Commerce, and recently the 2014 spring meetings of the Boards of Governors of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group as a panelist on the Civil Society Policy Forum. Wow, Pat, you've done a lot, but mostly she is the founder and president of the nonprofit organization, which we name the African Diaspora Chamber of Commerce, and which functions as a bridge and a link for educational and business opportunities, with an emphasis in creating generational change among Black Africans. Pat, you know, there are people who have not done what you have done in a lifetime. And, you know, it's just an honor to know that you have 5 children, 2 biological and 2 stepchildren. And she's also has several grandchildren, and she's a great-grandmother. So that tells me, Pat, that you have not spent your life doing nothing. you have truly added to this world. And I can say that on that note, we just want to say, cheer you for all the great things that you have accomplished in your life. And I wanted to have you on our show because I know we deal with singles, but you have helped me in many ways in my life and helped me work through some issues even today. And you know, life is filled with changes, but it's how you deal with those things. It makes a difference in how you deal with challenges. Well, thank you for coming, Pat.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I would like to say hello to the internet world out there for tuning in. And Michelle, you and I go way back, and you are a very dear friend, and I am extremely honored to be a part of the Michelle Hughes Show today.
Well, you know, it's just an honor to have you. And we're going to get right into the interview, Pat, because we have a lot to discuss tonight. And I know you are ready for the questions. But the first thing I would like to ask you, Pat, is you've done a lot with going to Africa, different parts of Africa. How do you shape your world?
Well, again, because my entire foundation is rooted and grounded in the Word of God, and I must give Him all honor and praises. All I do is show up every day. I'm a willing vessel to be used by the Master. And whatever Father has for me to do, I try so hard to be obedient to the things that He has called me for. And once you get to a point in your life that, one, you recognize your life is not your own, you understand that you were predestined even before the earth and the heavens were formed, and that there is a purpose for our lives right here on earth during this time in this season. So my desire is just to show up every day, allow my footsteps to be ordered by Him. And when you yield to that, even if you don't know why you were born, why you were predestined, but just the obedience of surrendering your life to the Master will literally begin to guide your footsteps through this walk in life. And because of that, I know that who sent me, I know who I belong to. So therefore, I travel to Africa 99.99% of the time by myself. And I'm able to do it without fear, without reservation, because I know who is ordering my footsteps.
Wow.
And because of that, we've been able, as a chamber that's only 2.5 years old, to accomplish great things that no one to date has been able to accomplish on the continent. And we just give God glory for that.
Well, that's a big accomplishment. Just, you know, building the rapport, doing the things that you said that you're doing. That's a great accomplishment. But my next question is, what does this mean? Your thoughts create your reality.
Well, I want to say that, you know, again, because of my foundation, it's in the Word of God, and I stand on His promises. And in the Word, it says, so that a man thinketh, so is he. So in that, when you begin to think that you can do the impossible, then you can accomplish those things. I was just sharing with you today, Michelle, on my Skype and putting in a little quote under my mood that everything is impossible until someone does it. And even when, you know, Christopher Columbus went out to discover the world and it wasn't flat, that it was impossible back in that time for him to fail and not fall off into God only knows what. But through that, because he dared to step out, dared to travel where no one had traveled before, we now realize that the world is circular. And regardless of how far and how massive we travel within the world, we will never fall off the world. So that impossible until he did it now has become possible.
Wow. That is so true. Well, when you say that to make a better world, how do you think singles can make their life better?
One is that you have to enjoy where you are. You have to have that spirit of joy living inside of you. You know, we talk about joy and we talk about happiness, but joy is sustainable. Happiness is based on a circumstance. That if you get a promotion, oh, you're happy. Or you end up getting married, oh, you're so happy. Or you move into a new home, oh, you're happy. But joy, even when you lost your job, you can still have joy. Even when your home has been foreclosed on and you don't know where you're going to live, you can still have joy. Joy is what sustains us. And for singles, to be joyful. Don't worry about it, even if you have thoughts of, I want to be married, I want to have a family, and you begin to think negatively, I'll never get married. I'm going to walk through this earthly walk without a companion. I'm going to grow old without anyone to share it with. All of my girlfriends are getting married. Why am I still single? What's wrong with me? And those thoughts will begin to shape your reality. And we draw what we believe.
Wow.
So if you think those things, then that's the energy that you're portraying, and that's the energy that you're going to attract.
I believe that, Pat. I really do. Now, what does the biological clock means to most people?
Biological clock, again, for our wonderful and awesome singles out there, that now you're looking at your age and you now becoming panicky. Some ladies out there are settling for whatever and whomever because of your age, and now you're getting older and you don't believe that you can have a child of your own. But I'm talking to not even singles. You have married couples that have not been able to bring forth a child into the world. But my granddaughter, who I just discovered a little over a year ago, she's 14 years old, and she's been in the foster care system since she was 6 years old. And so she's still in the foster care system, only because I travel extensively. I'm not in a position to see after her. But when I'm here in the city, I get her every weekend. And just a little interaction that I have with her on the weekends has literally transformed her life. Now she knows she's not alone. Now she knows someone loves her. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't get so caught up on getting of age, I can't have a child, and begin to settle for less than what you are worthy of. When we have so many children that's lost, in our foster care system, that's looking for wonderful people such as yourself out there listening, that you can embrace. Doesn't take a lot for these young people to, want to feel loved, and you can literally transform a life in a child just by extending the love and the desire that you have for yourself to want a child of your own. We are flooded, and we're only growing by leaps and bounds of parents that are abandoning children. You are needed, so you don't have to. I know some of us may want to have our own child, but I'm here to tell you that when you pour out your love on those children, you will see them as your own. The old folks used to say, if you feed them long enough, they start to look like you.
That's true. That is so true, Pat. You know, I've seen people and I thought that was their child. And then they told me later, no, that was their stepson or stepdaughter. So I believe that is very true. Pat, you've given us a wealth of information, especially to the single who may want a child, but they're not married. And you've given them some information to let them know that they can still have a kid. So we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to come back because we have some more questions to give to our dear sister here, Pat.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michelle Hughes Show. It's the Michelle Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michelle Hughes Show. Are you satisfied, happy, or miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Well, tune in daily and join our controversial topics. She's the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show. She keeps it real. Don't miss a show with Michelle Hughes.
All right, that's right. Go tell a friend that the Michelle Hughes Show is on Monday through Friday at 7:30 to 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And we enjoy being here, giving you information that's going to help you singles enjoy your single life. Well, I'm going to continue our conversation here with Patricia McCants. And Pat, I have a question here. How do you change your reality through your thoughts?
You have to look at, there's a saying that there's a silver lining if you look hard enough. And I don't care how gloom or doom the situation looks, but if you look hard enough, you can always see that glimmer of hope. But how you build on that? The glimmer of hope is like a seed. And how does the seed grow? It grows when we plant it into the earth. We cover it well. We water it. And then when it starts growing, we prune and we weed it out. And then you turn around and the next thing you know, you have an awesome harvest. It is the same process for our thoughts. And once you begin to, and I don't care how gloom or doom it may look, I don't care how hopeless you may find yourself, that if you just dig in and know that if you didn't have great purpose for your life, you wouldn't even be among us today. If there wasn't something special for you to accomplish, you would not have breath in your body today. And not until our mission, our purpose in life has been fulfilled, that as long as you have breath in your body, you still have an opportunity to tap into why you were so special to be brought into this world. I don't care how you got here. I don't care if it was youth, young parents. I don't care, you were raped. It really doesn't matter. Even in that, before the earth and the heavens were formed, God is all knowing. So even through those circumstances, rise up and begin to tell yourself, look in the mirror and begin to tell yourself, I have purpose. I have value. If not, I wouldn't be here. And then begin to encourage yourself. Begin to speak those things into your own life. And once your thought process begins to shift from negative to positive, then guess what? That energy that you're projecting is going to attract other positive energy. So it starts with just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then for you to speak it. And once you hear yourself, and then you begin to act it out. And that's how you begin to empower yourself. So enjoy your singleness. I mean, I have never really enjoyed being a single person. And if I would say, if I had any regrets in life, it would be that I never lived alone. I never had an opportunity to really tune into who I am as a single person. So I admire single people, that how you're able to live by yourself, how you're able to go shopping and go out to dine and to the movies, and all that self-sufficiency within, I marvel that among single people. But if you aspire to be married, begin to enjoy your singleness. And that enjoyment of your singleness will now, eliminate the positive energy that I'm happy. I'm full of joy of being a single person, and now you will begin to attract so many men, married men. We don't want to deal with that issue, but I'm just keeping it real. Married men, single men, because everybody wants to be a part of something exciting.
Yes.
So you begin to pick yourself up. Enjoy where you are. There's a purpose for this. And now you'll be able to encourage other single people and say that being single is a wonderful thing. We look at Oprah Winfrey, her and Stedman, even though she has a man or whatever, but at the end of the day, she has chosen to walk this walk as a single woman. And I think that would be just great, encouragement for us. Maybe how she's walking it out and her and Stedman, playing house, and I'm not, promoting that type of activity. But I want you, like I said, there's a silver lining in every situation. So when we look at Oprah, we see the silver lining that she celebrates her singleness. Might not agree with all of her processes, but to each his own. Mm-hmm. But she celebrates her singleness. And she's filled with joy. And because she's filled with joy, she eliminates joy. And positive energy is now being attracted to her that causes her to do great exploits.
I believe that, Pat. I really do. What you said is very true. And I think sometimes we who are believers or Christians, what have you, we think that just because a person may not do it the way we do it, it doesn't mean that they're not going to have prosperity. Because you know what? If you sow a seed, guess what? Seed's going to come back to you. And that's what she does. She sows seeds into many lives and people. And that's why the fruits of her labor comes back. The only travesty in that is that if you don't have a personal relationship with God, unfortunately, if he comes back, what's going to happen to you, you may not have eternal life unless you give up your own blood. But we're not going to be real deep tonight.
Yeah.
Because
even with that, Michelle, when we talk about Oprah and she moved from, major networks, she created her own network. I was looking at Oprah today, and she had a doctor on talking about parenting skills, a new way of parenting, and in that, the doctor was saying, if you believe in a higher being and, something greater than yourself, and then Oprah said, God. So now that she has her own network, she's more free. And then I saw her with Steve Harvey on, and they were just talking about the blessing and the goodness of God.
Wow.
So even in that, it's like certain platforms that is acceptable. God has opened up the door for Oprah to have her own network and now allow people to see a billionaire lift up the name and recognize the Father as being the Father.
Well, now that makes a difference, too, because, you hear sometimes different things, and they'll say, because I like Oprah, I like what she's done with her life, and it just gives black women, especially, someone to esteem after who has done great things in the earth, and she's also helping other people. And I think that's the thing that touches me with her life, is the things that she promotes and continues to do. So I'm here to say I'm glad to hear that she has renounced all the negativity that people were saying about her not truly having beliefs in God. So I'm glad that's been put to, underneath wherever it needs to be, so it won't come back up, because she's speaking it out of her own mouth. Pat, I always want to say to you, I know you have a single son who was, he had a car accident, but now he's living a life to the fullest. Can you explain how you felt through that and where he is today?
Absolutely. I have a son. He is my oldest. In 2005, he was in a horrific car accident, and he now is a quadriplegic. And so it was hard for him in the beginning, and, he cried a lot, he no longer could walk and needs someone to take care of all of his needs. But I'm here to tell you, as a single person, and he decided not to sit there and become depressed and drown in his sorrow because he can no longer walk. He can no longer, use his fingers. He can no longer transport himself from his car to his seat, from his seat to his bed. But when you see my son, when I say a shining example of someone celebrating life, and as a single person, and, he's doing very well, God is truly blessed. He tapped into the no-fault insurance. So, to date since his accident, he has received upwards of $8 million in care and therapy equipment, etc. And that will go on for the rest of his life.
Wow.
And so in that, because, his livelihood is sure, it allows him to now begin to think different about life. And so we don't always understand why things happen the way they happen. But again, if you look hard enough, there's always a silver lining in every situation. So I just want to encourage single people that are listening, go out and share this message with other single people and people in general. But this show is about singles. And go and tell people, stop talking negatively because that forms your world. Stop thinking negatively because that forms your world. If you want a full life, a life filled with joy, begin to change the way you think. And I 100% guarantee you your life will be better because of it.
Do you believe also, Pat, that the way the person thinks will draw that person into their life?
Absolutely.
The right person.
We're like a magnet. If you're out here desperate and, you think you're getting older and now you start settling, your energy will begin to draw those types of people. It's like when you go on a job interview and when you go confident and they could tell the way that you walk, the way you dress, the way you sit, your level of assurance. And you will be offered a job, may not even have as much qualification as the next person that's an introvert, not outgoing, not outspoken. And that will give you a cutting edge just because you believe and know who you are. And when you know who you are, now others will have a greater opportunity of understanding who you are as well.
Well, Pat, this has been a phenomenal interview. I think you expressing how our thoughts will determine who we are will give the single person an understanding from a married point of view. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show. We have to have you come back because I believe you have more to add to this conversation. But everybody, you know what we do. We keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in to the Michelle Hughes Show. Join us daily for more hot topics with the Queen of Relationships. Always keeping it real. See you tomorrow on the Michelle Hughes Show.